Woo!
Good morning, sir.
What's up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just going through my notes and everything, making sure I got all I want to talk about.
Sweet.
You know,
Good news is we just.
I have like 4 pages.
Oh, sweet. Well, you look like a old school Godzilla movie currently, so hopefully that dials in a little bit. Unfortunately, we just spent money to get on Twitter, and it's still showing we're not on Twitter, so or X or whatever the hell it's called. So we're gonna have to do some finagling, but whatever. Very annoying.
Thanks a lot, Elon.
Yeah, we need to get this fixed. We paid money to them, and they still won't let us go live on there. So, oh well. Anyway, we had a good week of wrestling.
There was a lot of wrestling going on. Oh my!
Yeah, there was a ton. So we started off. Did you watch SmackDown last Friday?
Highlights. I just watch highlights now because, dude, I can't watch 47 hours of wrestling. I've come to terms with it.
It was on in the background. I kind of hit and miss, watched some of it. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of notes from it. I have the Cody and the Solo Bloodline story going on SmackDown. Other than that, I don't really remember much from it.
Like, what I've seen, looks like LA Knight and Logan Paul will be starting a feud for the U.S. title here soon.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to take on each other at SummerSlam. Let's see, KO. When KO and Cody Rhodes, they beat A-Town Down Under, and KO was clearing house. Clothesline, move after move on these dudes. He was doing work.
That's awesome. Are him and Randy still together?
Yeah, but okay. I think Cody, Randy, and KO are kind of got a little trio going.
Okay.
But it was short-lived.
KO just replaced DiBiase Jr. for Legacy.
There you go. Yeah, it's Legacy-ish.
Yeah, Legacy 2.0.
Yeah, but that victory was short-lived because the Bloodline came out, and I'm telling you what, dude, Jacob Fatu destroyed KO. He did that like Umaga move, like runs in the corner like 4 times.
Yep.
And then they did the triple power bomb to Cody through the table. But to me, it looked like I about said Zilla, but it's Jacob Fatu. He's going to take over as leader. I'm calling it now. Yeah. He will take it over, and there's going to be another civil war among the civil war in the Bloodline.
Yeah, I can't figure out Solo. I like him. He seems like a very nice fella, but like the menacing character, he almost seems like he is made to be a face, and he's just trying really hard to be a heel. You can usually see it in most of those guys where they just have that natural knack of being a dickhead or being a good guy.
Yeah. It's like I said, man. Jacob Fatu, he's the next Umaga, even though Umaga's son's coming up. He was just a GCW this past weekend, but. The Samoan werewolf is his nickname, and man, he's pretty impressive.
What's Umaga's kid's name that's coming up?
Zilla.
Okay.
Zilla Fatu. So
is he another just giant ass Samoan?
Yeah, basically. He's like a skinnier version of Umaga.
So they're gonna turn the Bloodline into like the Avengers / NWO, where there's just 7,000 of them, and then there's gonna be like different variations.
And they're all one family. So
sweet. So it's just gonna be like a lot of family reunion drama where like this cousin doesn't like this cousin and they're fighting and like having a food fight at the dinner table and that kind of thing. That'd be kind of funny.
That would be funny. I mean, it's just like your typical family drama. Now they're just fighting on TV.
They do seem kind of lost now. Like they seem like they're trying to figure it out, but they definitely seem like they're not quite sure where to go with it now until Roman gets back. Like they're almost trying to not necessarily have it as a placeholder. Like they're clearly trying to build the story up, but Roman just has that different vibe now. But that's kind of how Roman was accepted at first too, where people just thought they were trying to shove him down their throat, so they just repelled against him.
They were totally shoving them down people's throats. They were over it.
Yeah.
But did you see on Netflix? Like Netflix is requesting Roman to be on Raw. So
really,
like that either the entire bloodline goes to Raw, or they're going to just be like, do this feud and fast forward and move on.
So do you think they go 1 year with, or not even 1 year, they go a few months to see how it goes with Raw, and then every show moves over? Because like that's going to be rough to have Raw as this uncensored juggernaut of a show, and then SmackDown's on a cable network where they're like bleeping out holy shit in the background, which is so.
Well, they're going to go with whoever's paying the most money. That's what they're going to go with. I mean,
true.
Fox paid $1 billion for SmackDown, but I think they're moving to USA now. But I think WWE's got a major contract with USA. I mean, they've been with USA for 30-some years.
But I assume that's like the ultimate goal, is they're eventually going to move away from regular TV, and they'll just be full-fledged either Netflix, or they'll have their own. Because I thought originally that's what they should have done with the WWE Network. You put all of your content on one app, and then people have to, which I get these TV stations pay astronomical amounts, but think about how many, like they sell out every place. Like if you're exclusively on your app and you're going back to that $10 a month, that almost like seems like that was the original vision for the network, where inevitably, but then these networks and stuff offer way too much damn money. So I guess that's probably
I bet it was the original idea, but then they're like, oh, $1 billion to do what we're already doing? Deal. Like,
yeah, sweet. Let's do that.
I mean, Vince McMahon wasn't dumb in selling.
No.
I don't know if he sold it or just leased the rights. I don't know about all that, but I mean, but you got to think, once the Peacock deal's done, they better either pay heavy cash, or they're going to Netflix too.
That was a weird one.
What, Peacock?
Yeah.
Well, they've had, I mean, that's where like all the Saturday night main events in the 80s, I mean, they were all on NBC channels. So I understand why they went with them, plus paying that heavy price tag. So
yeah, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the only other weekend thing we had was TNA had their Slammiversary. I kind of kept up with it, but again, like trying to watch all of it. I do know that Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler is the new champion.
Yeah, he won a six-way match, and he beat Joe Hendry, Moose, all those guys. And I'm actually watching the highlights. It's playing in the background here, so it's pretty cool to see PCO. He is now your new digital media and international heavyweight champion, and he's engaged to Steph Lander. Yes. Yes.
Really?
Then we had the Rascals. The Rascals pulled up the victory on the no quarter catch crew, so TNA won the TNA NXT battle. Then George Grace retained her Knockouts title. Mike Bailey won the X Division title from Mustafa Ali. And looking at TNA Impact, Mustafa Ali was not real happy about that. But
so do you think at that point, I'll say we can go ahead and jump into some TNA since we're already talking about the pay-per-view, but do you think at some point, it's kind of weird that like you have the guys like Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, that they kind of got the axe from WWE, and now obviously they have this working relationship with TNA and WWE, and Dolph's their top guy. Mustafa Ali's fighting with him. Like obviously it's a different regime, so I assume that'll play into it a little bit. But it's interesting that they're all kind of like back in the mix now. Oh yeah, well, and hopefully the crossover pays off. I know TNA said that WWE's winning in this crossover payout. But that's when you do a crossover, somebody's going to be a bigger winner than the other, and that's just happening. Well, the only problem is I feel like they might as well just take Joe Hendry at this point. Like you're almost seeing him too much, and it's making it where like anytime I get on Twitter on Tuesdays or Thursdays, that's literally the only highlight you see is the stuff about Joe Hendry, which obviously he got the huge pop, he has the song and everything, but I also think you can get into that overexposure a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you could, but I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Sure. And fair enough. That's why he's technically, I guess, making money for both companies, so they're gonna whore him out while they can. Yeah, make money. True. Make money. So, I don't know if you saw highlights. So AJ Francis faced Sami Callihan on Impact last night. And watching the highlights. Yeah.
watching the highlights, dude. Wow, like it was violent. I
Did he?
don't know if it was I don't know if it was a weapons match or not, but when I was just perusing the highlights, man, a lot of action. So,
Did
but
he
AJ
happen
Francis,
to steal a man's prosthetic leg and beat his
no,
opponent?
he did not steal any
No.
prosthetics.
Well,
But
then it was not as cool as the HCW match.
no, but AJ Francis pulled out the victory on that. I did have there was a mixed tag team match, Ash by Elegance, and which was Dana Brooke now in a previous life.
Okay.
She teamed up with Hammerstone. If you've not seen anything from Hammerstone, go check him out. His MLW stuff was awesome. He's like, I call him the modern day Hulk Hogan, except with like longer hair and like full hair. He looks like Thor, actually.
Okay.
But then they beat Eric Young and Jordan Grace. So that was a pretty good match, what I saw. And then the main event was ABC and Matt Hardy. They defeated the System and Fandango.
Didn't Mr. Joe Hendry get involved in that one as well?
He did, because Moose was out there and he was trying to stir up some trouble, and Joe Hendry had to come, stop it. And so it worked. So they pulled the victory out on that. Yeah. Well, when you got the one-man advantage or one-person advantage, it's a little unfair. You never know what's going to happen. So you got to even the odds. But they got the dub there, and that was TNA for the weekend.
Yeah. Honestly, I got to watch some of the highlights. I still haven't gotten the TNA app. I thought about doing it for the weekend, but we ended up being busy, so I skipped it. But I do want to get it because I want to start watching. I feel like they put on a really good show. I like their bright-ass yellow ropes, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, even their old stuff. I mean, because if you get the library, you get to see all the old NWA TNA stuff, their weekly pay-per-views when they were, up and coming and before the six-sided ring. Then you get the six-sided ring and then back and forth. And it's TNA is a very, I don't want to say, it's an underrated company. They put on a good show.
That's right.
And but it's nice having an alternative. Like AEW is the alternative to WWE, but then you have TNA who's the alternative to both. It's more, I don't say traditional, but fucking talking. And
I wish they do more of what like OBW and those guys do, where they just go live on a random, or like what was it, NWA was the other one that has like the CCTV or whatever that you can get on. But I wish they did something like that where you can find it. Like, it's awesome that they're on a TV network, but I don't have access, and I really don't want to like switch my entire thing just to watch TNA every once in a while.
Exactly. Well, and that's what I mean. The people on YouTube, they get like the highlight show is 40 minutes, and I think TNA is a 2-hour show, maybe. I mean, so you get like they basically record the thing and clip it, just cut out all the nonsense.
Okay, question. We need to do some research, or if anybody who watches this knows this answer, are there any streaming services that you can get, like where you can watch Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, like you get every channel that wrestling's on that you could watch it all? Like, did any of the live, because I have YouTube TV, and I mean, unless I upgrade the package maybe, but I do not have access. That's the only one I can't watch currently.
Well, and the only thing I can think of is you just buy the app, because they all have their own, thing.
Their own
like
thing.
But then there's so IWTV is an app itself, but it's got anybody that's on there, you can watch any of their stuff plus the library.
Okay.
I wish the big leagues would do that, but they're making more money than.
Well, yeah, like I said last week, now I have it all set up to record, so I have gotten with technology and utilized it to my advantage, and rather than just hoping that I'll be home, because I'm never home. But now I just record it. I just smacked my fucking ankle off my chair. God.
Well, Craig Peters said you can watch on Penn Island. I don't know what Penn Island is.
Penn Island. Okay. Yeah, you should check that out real quick. Go to pennisland.com and let's fact check this, see if it works. Yeah. I personally am not gonna. I don't have a phone, so I can't do it. But if you would like to go,
I'm not going on Penn Island because it's probably like meat spin. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Well, you could have ended up in a Wiener Wonderland.
I'm good. I got my.
Don't be whipping
wiener right here.
You can't whip your wiener out on live streams. You're gonna get us taken down. You definitely can't play with your wiener on our live stream. We are live on Facebook, sir.
Well, whatever. Let's jump to the NWA because it's
all right.
It's on my list. It was NWA. It's an hour show, and you're going to get 3 to 4 matches in that hour. So That's good wrestling versus Raw had 4 matches, SmackDown had 4 matches.
Okay, can I give you my take on this though? So
Yeah.
NXT is probably the one that I cannot watch or I just do not get into. Like even when I scroll through the highlights, I see the Joe Hendry stuff. You see the, I honestly I think it was Trick Williams was the other one that I saw a couple of things of, but there's not a whole lot of storytelling. It's like when we went to the AEW show and we got to watch all those dark matches where they're just throwing 65 matches at you in a short amount of time. And I get it. Like that's like the training grounds to get them ready for but I feel like we talked about on the last week's show that storytelling and that stuff's a big portion of it too. And I know they do that stuff, but I don't feel like the investment, and maybe it's just because I don't watch it that in-depthly and I'm just watching on, but even like the stuff you see that trends on Twitter, it's usually just because someone from TNA showed up or like they all kind of look the same. They all kind of have the same like styles. It's very like, I don't know, it's almost cookie cutter. And again, I don't watch it that often, but that's why I don't watch it that often. I don't feel like I'm invested in any of it to where Raw, AEW, you kind of get a gist of the stories. Definitely WWE more than AEW, but that's where that investment comes in for me. Like I feel like I get like that when we do the independent stuff, where when we're doing these promos and these interviews and things with the wrestlers leading up to the show, I feel like I get more invested as a commentator, as a ring announcer, and as a fan, because now I'm like, there's a story behind this. Like there's this back and forth. There's a reason that I want to watch these guys go to battle. And I love doing those. And I think that story aids so much into it, where that creativity and coming up with different angles and different ways to go about it that people haven't done before. Like, I think that's where they miss it. Because again, you have wrestling damn near 7 days a week at this point. You put together some awesome stories. You start intermingling this talent. You could come up with some really cool things to get people to where it's like must-watch TV every night.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got some stories. They got a lot going. Williams, he's getting involved with Joe Hendry. Now Pete Dunne, this Brooks Jensen and Briggs, they've got a little storyline going. Lexus King, which is Brian Pillman Jr., he's starting to get some stories behind him. They're coming. You got Rascals with the No Catch Quarter Crew or whatever they're called, and they're on both shows. So there's some stories there, but it's more, you're right, more development. But for me, being a wrestling fan and actually watching wrestling, they had 7 matches in like their hour program versus the other 2.
So you get to watch a lot of wrestling, but I feel like they should, like, obviously maybe cut that down to 6 matches and add an extra 2 or 3 minutes per whatever that you cut off the show that you could add into the storytelling aspect a little bit more. Like, and obviously they're doing their thing, but that's where Raw and those, like you just said, they only have 3-4 matches, so they almost go too heavy on the storylines and less on the wrestling. You just need that good blend.
You do. And that's where, I mean, for the longest time, when they had the Wednesday Night War, I watched NXT over Raw and SmackDown because I didn't care, because there was more action. Plus, they were dropping down guys, and I mean, it's almost like, I don't want to call it, it's like the mixing pot. The melting pot is NXT because you get like the Good Brothers coming down. You get these guys from the main roster dropping down. You get TNA coming over. So I mean, I just like it because anything can happen. And
well, maybe I unfairly judged it then. Maybe I need to give it a little more of a chance. I do have them recorded now, so I think every wrestling.
There's sometimes like I'll watch it. Ooh, sometimes I watch it and I'm like, I don't know these guys. But when I see like the Lexus King and I see some guys that I do, plus, I mean, you may see some guys that we've come across show up there. I just like to give it some hope, and plus,
sometimes the gear, like the gear and the music, all looks and sounds the same. So then it's like, who is this one? Like, which one is this person? Like, I don't remember which person this is. Yeah. Like I don't know. I just feel like in NXT that's kind of the miss down there. Is there, like, you should be almost taking advantage of that. And like, obviously it's a different show than Raw, but you almost want to put the pressure on Raw, like they used to do with those takeovers when Triple H was down there. where he would put on these crazy NXT takeover shows where it's like, oh shit, the main card's going to have some work to do. Like there for a long time, NXT was better than Raw. It was more watchable. The stories were better. The vibe was better. But now it's that bright as shit setup, and it's like they kind of went into that like WWE speed, like the just fast, like, and I get it, like there's something for everybody kind of thing, but I don't know. I just feel like that creativity and storytelling aspect is a little bit missing down there.
Well, and I think it's going to get better. Shawn Michaels is running it, and I feel like it will get better with as time goes on. They're trying to find their footing, especially with the partnership with TNA. I'd like to see TNA move up the roster and go after the main eventer or the main roster guys, but
yeah,
right now we're seeing shit that's never happened before. So it's like,
yeah,
we're just going to roll with the punches.
It's a freaking awesome time for wrestling. It's so much fun because like we can move kind of into Raw. It was a fun episode of Raw. They did a lot of the things that I complained about last week, where the Wyatt Six just meander down to the ring slowly, but they don't do anything. This time they stood there on the thing, and then it panned back, and Uncle Howdy's behind him, and then he hits him with the Sister Abigail that looked freaking awesome. And it's like, okay, cool. That was a fun storyline. The Rhea and Dom stuff, like they're furthering that story. They're just, I don't know, creativity, and like that's the kind of stuff that then you want to watch the matches. Like you kind of have that investment in it where it's like, okay, like that makes sense. That makes this a little more fun.
Yeah. And that's what, like the Nikki Cross promo they did with the VCR, like that was gold. I felt like that was gold because it was just like boom, boom, done. And it was like, whoa. And she didn't break character. It wasn't like, oh, I'm Nikki Cross and now I'm Sister Abigail. No, it was like this demented person. It gave me goosebumps. I was like,
yeah,
it creeps me out.
I love that they're ramping it up. Like that's what it needed. It needed that. And I still think they go out and find if they don't already, but go out and find these people who are like crazy horror movie directors and and start adding that stuff to it, where when these people come out, you are legitimately terrified. Like, where the hell are they going to pop up? Who the hell are they going to beat up? And they just keep popping up in random places and just making everybody kind of walking on eggshells, if you will, kind of looking over their shoulder. So then even the backstage promos, like somebody flips a light off and they're like, Jesus Christ, like what was that? Like kind of thing. And then you just play to it that like the backstage is terrified because the Wyatt Six is roaming around and you don't know where they're going to pop up next.
I wish like WWE would grab Scott D'Amore. He was the one that basically turned TNA around and made it awesome. And they fired him. I don't know why, but they fired him, and he's a free agent now. But he is a very brilliant mind. I hope somebody goes and gets him, whether it's AEW or WWE. I prefer WWE because I feel like they do better storytelling. But it is what it is.
AEW is getting better. When we get to Blood and Guts, they did a very, very good job with Blood and Guts. I was very impressed.
Overall, it was very good. Overall, I had some complaints on that, but we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Braun Breaker, man. Who's going to stop Braun Breaker? That dude's just running through people like it's his job.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of building him too, where they just need to keep their foot on the gas with him and keep that slow build until, because you almost see it where they start maturing and they start getting that cadence down, the vibe down. And then once they do that, then it kind of starts all clicking together for them. And I think they're doing a great job of that, like slow build to get him to where he just becomes this unstoppable, like Goldberg 2.0, but in a good way. Yeah.
And so he ended up beating Ilya Dragunov in the number one contenders match for the Intercontinental title. So he will face Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. That was spear in midair. What's up?
Comment on Mr. Dragunov. Why did these guys not wear knee pads and white trunks? It looks like he's just walking like a toddler came to the ring in his tidy whities. Pete Dunne does it too with like a women's bodysuit. He looks like he's trying to go out to like a Vogue model thing rather than go out to a wrestling match. Like the knee pads add so much. It makes you look like you're going to a modeling competition compared to a wrestling match.
They look like me going out to get the dumpster early in the morning when I forgot to take the trash. Because I thought that same thing. It's like you need some sort of pad. I guess either elbow pads or knee pads or something. But I don't know. It's just like, man, this guy's like he must have forgot to take the trash out.
It looks like a 3-year-old like wakes up with his blankie and just walks out in his little like whatever Captain America underoos and just wanders out into the living room to go get a snack. It's like what happened? Like why is that what you're wearing? I hate.
Just put pants on or wear knee pads. That's all we need to do. Pants and knee pads.
It has to complete the look. I feel like the no knee pads thing just it does. It just looks funky. And yeah, Pete Dunne walked out without the knee pads also, and he wears the onesie. So it looked like he was wearing like a women's bodysuit, and he kind of has the like long wet hair anyway. So he kind of gave that like modeling vibe off of more than he was going to a wrestling match. I'm like, why do these guys do that and not wear knee pads?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what Pete Dunne's doing. So he attacked Sheamus last week. He gets involved with Sheamus and Bronson Reed, and now he drops out of NXT and goes after Trick Williams. There is something brewing, and it might be sweet. I don't know, but Sheamus cleaned house on Monday night. He attacked Pete Dunne and went after Bronson Reed. So Sheamus is back. He's not the flabby guy that when he made his return, he's jacked. He took his shirt off. He had a six-packish.
See, that's one of those areas where fat shaming like worked really well because he came back and people were very, very mean to him. And I mean, that wasn't that long ago, and he got jacked really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he was ready to come back. They're like, "Hey, we need you." He's like,
"Hey guys, I need some more time."
Yeah, like I was actually like eating donuts when he called me, so I guess all right, whatever. I mean, the pay had to be very good for him to come back now.
If you put your mind to it, you can really like do some shit to your body.
Yeah, or if the pay's good, I guess come back when you're not ready. So.
True, yeah, but I mean, he got in shape quick. Like he had to have worked his ass off because he got back in shape very, very fast.
Well, like dudes that got in shape. I don't know if you've seen it, but Gunther and Damian Priest. Did you see them back in their independent days? They were
like tiny, weren't they? Or Gunther was like
fat. No, Damian Priest was fat too. I mean, like they were
really
rotund, and that's coming from a fat guy myself. But they've really worked on their bodies. They've really, made themselves look presentable. I'm looking forward to that match. I mean, Gunther he's getting up there on my list, just how badass he is. Wish he'd wear knee pads, but I think he could take that title from Damian.
I mean, in all fairness, I think a lot of people could take that title from Mr. Priest. I don't know. I'm not a big Damian Priest fan. I feel like he doesn't quite know his character or doesn't quite know like who he is, I guess. I don't know. You just get that like acting vibe, like almost like he would rather do like comedy kind of thing. Like that's the vibe I get from him is like that silly vibe, and he's trying to play this mean badass character.
I wish he'd go back to Punisher Martinez. That was his nickname when he was younger. Yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I wish he'd go back to that, but I mean, they're gonna tell you, hey, you're doing this. Yes, sir, I'll do it.
True.
So, I don't know. The Judgment Day, I'm not sold on anymore. I feel like it's weird. But
yeah, it's clearly going to implode. I think obviously they're holding on because of the Rhea Dom Liv stuff is pretty heavily, and then it's like I feel like Carlito and Finn and what's the bobblehead looking motherfucker's name?
JD McDonough.
They're like, it's almost like they have the Three Stooges. Like they even did that the other day whenever they popped their heads over, but they give off the like Three Stooges vibe that they're just like aimlessly wandering around doing random tasks and shit, and it never works out the way it's supposed to. Like it's I don't know. It's almost like that's what the direction they've been given was, hey, just pretend like you're the Three Stooges, and that's what we're gonna do.
It's entertaining, I will say that, but
yeah, it is funny.
Dark faction, I don't know. Like, let's just get rid of. You can still call yourself Judgment Day. Be like, hey, but this whole like leave that to like Rhea and Damian Priest. The rest of you just be these guys.
But why are they doing that though with like these factions where they just keep making them bigger and bigger and bigger, where like the bloodline has 75 people. Like it's like they didn't learn anything from the old NWO days, where no, you don't want the whole roster on the same team. That makes for not fun stories, because then you just have NWO versus the world. And it's like, okay, cool. Like that
was cool in the 90s, not now. But
well, they have their places for the stories, but the whole show, like you want it to be, it's kind of like what the soap operas were, like where you have these intertwined stories where there's 10 different storylines going on throughout the show. And it's just, all right, here's the chunk of this story this week. Here's the chunk of this story this week. And then you just kind of, you have all these different meaningful things where from top to bottom, you're invested in this story because you want to know what happens next with each one. Like they almost just need to start writing it like a sitcom, not a sitcom, but like a Walking Dead, Sopranos kind of thing, where like they have that weekly arc going with everybody, where you just sit down and write these stories, let them be creative, come up with new shit, and they just start being themselves and creating this drama, because it's all whatever they come up with. Like they could make up any sort of scenarios they want.
Yeah, they could. And I mean, we'll see what happens. I watched, I saw the match, The Final Testament. They defeated Xavier Woods, Otis, and Akira Tozawa. That's a random team, but dude, Final Testament, I don't know if you've watched them.
Yeah.
I like them. Like,
not bad.
They're pretty dominant, especially with Paul Ellering. I don't know if you know familiar with him. He was the manager of the Road Warriors back in the day.
Do you remember on Alice in Wonderland when she walks in and is it Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
Yeah.
That's what the tag team guys remind me of. Like they kind of have the same shape and look and thing. Like, I don't know. That was just immediately what I thought when I watched them.
The Authors of Pain.
Yeah, the Authors of Pain. They kind of look like Tweedledee and Tweedledum from Alice in Wonderland.
I thought you were talking about Otis. Otis cracks me up, dude. Like,
yeah. I
like
wish they'd do more with him.
Oh, they will. You know they will. The last thing I've got is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Face off at SummerSlam with Seth freaking Rollins as the guest referee.
Did you feel like that was super awkward when Rollins came out?
Yeah, anything with Punk is super awkward.
I couldn't tell if they were just overly acting or if like they really were confused and they didn't know what the hell was happening. And they were, because it like Drew came out all cool, calm, and collected. CM Punk's out there wrapping his hands, ready to go to war. And then whatever the hell his name is, the GM comes running out and interjects and does a very, very wonky promo, and then says that Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee. So then he like insinuates that he's going to be the referee, and then Rollins gets in the ring and then cuts a promo like everyone doesn't already know that's what's getting ready to happen, and like tries to make it this surprise thing. I'm like, this is very weird. I don't know what's happening. I mean, it'd be a cool match, but it was like, what? This seems like you guys did not work this through very well backstage, because
no,
there's some wonkiness here.
Dude, I don't know what's up with what's up with Seth Rollins' like attire. He came out in that flowery looking.
Yeah, he was flying. He had like wings.
I don't know. I don't like the attire. It freaks me out. It's weird, but hey, each their own. I was just like,
yeah,
what? So
yeah, that whole promo was like super weird. I hope the match will be cool. I hope the build up will be cool, but it was Adam Pearce's part was wonky, like almost like he said stuff he wasn't supposed to say leading into Seth's promo, so then it made Seth's promo kind of funky because it just didn't make any sense. I was like, well, he clearly just came out and said that Seth's going to be the special guest referee, and then Seth comes out and does his promo like no one knows he's going to be the special guest referee, and this is going to be this like shocking moment. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, and he could have just said Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee, and he just comes out and laughs. He didn't have to cut a promo, just and then the end commercial. You know, they didn't have to. Not everybody has to talk. You know, just.
Well, and Seth almost had his like ready to go and down, and I totally get that because obviously we've had to do a couple of those where you go out there and you kind of have your thing in your head of what's about to happen when things go haywire. You're like, it's hard to kind of flip it. So I wonder if maybe Pierce wasn't supposed to like say that was what was happening. Like he was supposed to leave it open-ended, and then Seth was supposed to come out like, oh, is it going to be a triple threat match? Is it going to be this? Is it like whatever? And then he announces he's a special guest referee. I don't know. It was very confusing. I hope the match is badass, but like that part was confusing as shit.
Yeah. But that's all I got for Raw. I just want to talk about NWA Power real quick. They had 4 matches. I think their shows now are 4 matches. 3 of them were title matches. Tom Latimer and Kerry Morton, the son of Ricky Morton, they went to a draw for the NWA national title. Casey Page retains the NWA women's title, and EC3 retained the NWA world title against Wrecking Ball Legursky. No, that's
sweet.
Power. That's definitely a diamond in the rough. Check that out on the CW app.
Now we move to Blood and Guts. TV like it was the old school closed captioning.
Yeah, closed captioning TV.
Yeah, sorry, wrong one.
Yeah, well, on Dynamite, MJF he won the international title from Will Ospreay and then renamed it to the American title.
That belt is badass looking.
It is. But that title has changed names 3 times in 2 years.
Okay, and then did you see at the end of it, Will Ospreay gets his international title out, and the announcers are even like putting him over more. That it's like, well, why would you do that then? Because the people that live in America are clearly going to, especially like the way the world is right now and all the craziness going on, like people are going to be very the pro-American title. So unless they're trying to flip-flop it and they want MJF to be this uber face and they want like they're trying to flip him over to the heel, maybe. It was interesting.
It was also a play on New Japan. So when Will Ospreay won the New Japan American title or whatever, it's United States title, he called it the New Japan United Kingdom title.
So he was being a smart ass. Well, I wonder if they thought about that though, with like the way of the world, that people were going to see that title and go, that's really cool. That looks awesome. This is very neat. Like they're doing a U.S. title. They're playing off of the political world. Like, because obviously if you're on, even if most of AEW fans, I feel like are very active on Twitter, even if you're trying to stay away from that type of stuff, like as you've noticed, a little bit you get on there, like it'll still seep in there. Like it's still very, very prevalent. So I feel like way of the world right now, if you're not wanting to make MJF the face and him the heel, that was a weird move. I wonder if they just didn't think about that. They were trying to play on what Will Ospreay did. But if you're not a New Japan fan, like clearly I'm not, I don't really watch it. I know some of the guys from AEW, but other than that, I don't like, it's not something, again, I have no idea where that's even watchable at.
I know you can watch it somewhere. They've got an American one. It's like New Japan Strong or something, but it's on. I don't know. I don't get into New Japan because I can't pronounce their names most of the time. So I'm just like whatever. Like it's cool from time to time. Like the Bullet Club 10 years ago was cool, but now I'm like I don't care.
Well, speaking of the Jericho match was it Suzuki?
Yeah, for that TW title.
Sweet Jesus, talk about a chop fest! Like Jericho's chest was pouring blood at one point, because he was being chopped so hard, and you could just see it that he was doing his best, but Jericho was gassed. He couldn't, and he was still taking him, but this dude was chopping the hell out of him. His chest was so red, and then it was just seeping blood from his chest, just from a guy taking his hands, slapping the shit out of him. And I mean, I bet that the entire match was basically just chops. I don't know that they did anything else. I don't really remember if they did, but they just walked back and forth and chopped the hell out of each other. And you could tell, like I said, Jericho was getting gassed because he'd start missing, or they just wouldn't hit as like they were supposed to. And then that Suzuki dude would come back and just punish him. Like, how dare you miss me? How dare you not hit me? And was like, I mean, just laser focused. Like, I mean, that hand was just hitting the mark every time as hard as humanly possible. And I felt very bad for Mr. Jericho. He did win the match, but good God, did he take a beating.
Yeah, well, and both guys are in their 50s wrestling, and props to them for the longevity. But dude, I don't know. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but I feel like that's all the people do is chop, and it's like, come on, let's do something else.
and I get it when you're doing the back and forth, but you can't. I don't know if you can do it a whole match, because then it tells me that you're two 50-year-old dudes in the ring, and this is just the easiest way to do it. Hey, let's go out there and just have a chop fest. And it's cool, but like about midway through the match, my wife got up and was like, nope, can't do it anymore. Like, I'm going to go do something else. I'll be back. Like, I can't watch this anymore. It was brutal. Like, it was like that slap show where they just knocked the shit out of each other and that back and forth. But it was like that for whatever it was, 8 minutes or however long it was. But they just, that Jericho's chest was just brutalized.
Yeah, I bet he's sore. I bet he's sore yesterday.
Oh, yeah. He's got some bruises. Like, there's no way. It was a deep, dark red.
Ooh. But, hey, props to him. But I want to talk about blood and guts. I got to watch the highlight, which the highlight was 20 minutes, and it didn't start until Swerve Strickland got out there. And, dude, every time I see Prince Nana, I swear, we're not done. I love that. I love when he does that.
I hate Prince Nana. He drives me nuts.
What? Swerve.
Maybe unpopular opinion. I feel like it's like when you have that, I don't even know how to describe it, but I feel like he takes away from Swerve a lot. Like, I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind some of the stuff that he does, but then he almost takes it too far, and it takes away from what Swerve's doing. Because Swerve kind of has that badass swagger and vibe to him, and then like you have the silliness next to him that kind of breaks it up and it gives you something different. But then there's times where he wants to have like the last word kind of thing.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, I just like when he walks out like that night. The other night he walked out. He had a cup of coffee. He just walked out with a cup of coffee and then goes,
yeah.
And I ding my dryer.
Oh man, don't be doing that. Break shit. But I feel like it kind of takes away from him a little bit, where it like there's some of it that's awesome, it's hilarious, but then there's other parts of it where you can see Swerve's trying to play this like swagger, this vibe, this badass, like cool character, and then you have this jackass over here like fucking jacking around. But then to me it's always like, well, it's the promo stuff. It's the afterwards where he's going, like he like leans in and makes his own comment or whatever. And then it's like, okay, you kind of took away from what he was doing.
Like, I don't think Swerve needs a mouthpiece manager. He just needs that guy who's there with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He just needs that. He needs that cheerleader type.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely serves his purpose, but like, shut your mouth. Like, that's not your place. Let him cut the promo. Like, because I think he's trying to be like that rap hype man where you have like the background dude yelling, every 3 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have that like Little John-esque where they're just the hype dude in the background saying I forget what it's called. I forget what the word is for it, but like the background dude, like kind of hyping up the song. I feel like that's what he's supposed to be doing, which is great if you're good at it and you're good at hitting your timing. But when you're taking part of the promo and you're like making it about you, then it's like, oh man, like you just took away from, he just cut this badass promo and then you jumped in and said something stupid and silly. And it was like, oh, well, you just like kind of diminished what he was doing.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like is after Adam Page, he jumps Swerve, handcuffs him. Then one of the Bucks just pulls out a microphone and starts talking in the middle, like everything stopped. And I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Do you know what it was about? Like, because he was literally beating the shit out of one of the dudes in the match. So to me, it was like, what does it matter if he gets in the ring or not? Like, he's literally incapacitating one of your opponents right now. So if you're putting your team at a disadvantage because you're turned around on a fucking microphone talking to a guy who's actually fighting someone. It was very weird. Like, it'd be different if he went out there and like beat the hell out of him and then turned around and went to walk up the stage. Like looks in there and he's like, I'm not getting in there. Fuck that. And he turns around and walks up the stage. Then one of the Bucks grabs the mic and goes, hey, what are you doing? No, get your ass back in here. That's not what you're like. No, we didn't bring you in for that. Get in here now or you're fired, whatever. But then you give a reason why, like, it didn't make any sense to me why he was.
I'm just trying to find out where he got a microphone in a cage.
fair point also. Oh, because
like,
one of the acclaimed,
the match stopped.
One of the acclaimed came out with it and smacked somebody.
Okay.
That was his weapon when he came out, I believe. So then that was where the microphone came into play. So it was just laying in the ring, but obviously that's why he did it. But again, like he should have just came out, beat the hell. Like obviously he didn't come out for his entrance. Come out and beat the hell out of Swerve, handcuff him to the thing, and just be like, all right, it's you guys got it. It's 3-on-3 or whatever. I'm not. I took out my guy. I don't need to be in there anymore. And then he just turns around and walks up the stage. Yeah. He gets like 3 steps up the stage, and one of the Bucks grabs the mic and starts yelling at him. Then that makes sense, and it's like, oh, okay, he's not really wanting to be with the Bucks. He really doesn't care about this match. He just wants to knock Swerve out, handcuff him, and like go on about his night. So then again, the commentating can tell that story, and you understand what's going on, and you're not doing what both of us just sat here and talked about, where it's like, huh? what just happened?
It just didn't make any sense. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what this had to do with the match. I thought it was a sweet spot when Jeff Jarrett hit Brandon Cutler with a guitar, and Billy Gunn still get punched Brandon Cutler. Like, I don't think it really had anything to do with the match. It was just nostalgia, attitude era.
There was a lot of spots, like the super kick with the tacks in the mouth. That was pretty badass. I've never seen that before. That has to have hurt so bad. Because, like, obviously, I mean, you're doing your best. Like, I assume he's doing his best to get a hand up. But, I mean, they were holding it back. So, I really didn't watch that clearly if he got him square. But, like, even if just moving your head back, like, that would have been so hard not to get stabbed in the mouth, like swallow a fucking tack. I don't know how he did it.
You swallowed it, dude. You got to poop it out. Like, no, thank you. Like,
yeah, no. That sounds awful.
What do you think of the staple gun warfare when they all just started stapling Swerve?
That was interesting. Those are guys that just thrive on pain. Like, they just really enjoy it, because that, I feel like, a very unnecessary but a very different thing. Like, where you're all just like, oh, God damn it. Like, it was like a bunch of 13-year-old boys with BB guns, like, ha, watch this.
Well, then Swerve, I mean, he caught Adam Page in the mouth with one. I think he got one of the Bucks in the face. I'm like, no. Like, I don't like being stapled at all, let alone in my face.
There were some wild spots. The tack spots, the coffin drop off the like scaffolding part where Darby Allin wiggled his way out there.
He scurried up that pretty quick. I was like, okay, Jack Perry just laying there. I'm like, how are they going to sell this? And
he's wild.
I was hoping somebody come in and like choke him to keep him down, but I mean, for that he scurried up there pretty quick. I'm like, okay, I live with that.
Was he the one too that did the spot off the side of the cage where they went off the side of the cage through 2 tables?
No, that was one of the acclaimed. I think it was Bowen's.
Okay,
went through the 4 tables.
I just remembered somebody going off, because it's hard to watch sometimes because it's so freaking chaotic. There's so much shit going on that it's like but it was a really, really cool match. It was fun. I mean, very AEW-esque, but do you think that was one they always do, isn't it? Because obviously WWE just released that they're doing Bad Blood again. So I thought that was interesting that they kind of coincided.
Yes, I mean, it's AEW's version of the War Games, but I'm surprised they don't do it like as a pay-per-view. It's just free.
Yeah. They do that a lot.
That was free, so.
They do that a lot where they do their big shows, instead of putting it on a pay-per-view, they're just putting them on, like, instead of Wednesday Night Dynamite, they're just doing a longer show and putting it on then. So
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're trying to draw that crowd in. And it's like, I like it. There's probably too many weapons for my liking, but overall I think it's awesome. I like that match.
But there's a place for it there. I feel like when it's called Blood and Guts, that's what you're expecting. Like, it's when they do it for every show where 3 of the 4 matches, guys are spewing blood everywhere. And it's like, oh, that was kind of fun. And it's always like a weird spot too, where like he punches him in the head really hard and then he turns around and it's just blood everywhere. And it's like, oh, Jesus. Like, you guys just like to bleed, which is, it's part of it, but it's one of those where you don't want to overuse it, because then it dumbs it down, where it's like, you want to be excited when someone gets busted open. You want to be like, oh shit, he got knocked out, he got busted open, he's bleeding everywhere. Like you want it to be a cool thing, not, oh, of course they're busted open. That's how every match goes. It just, I don't know. It definitely adds something to it. Like obviously we're going to get into our like interior of the independent part here in a moment, but like if one of the matches ended with blood at Signal 10, people would be like legitimately concerned and like, wait, what? Like, oh shit, like he really like took him out. Like that would hold weight because there is never blood. There's rarely any weapons at Signal 10. So like that would be very out of the norm, and people would be like, whoa shit, okay, what happened there? That was crazy. I wasn't expecting that. But then like that makes sense. But doing it every show in multiple matches, I feel like it kind of like, I don't know, it just diminishes the coolness of it. Like I don't even know that every episode should have it. Like I think you should go weeks without blood, and then out of nowhere, like you have this hardcore match, you have a blood and guts match, and then pretty much at some point, almost everyone gets busted open at one point or another, and maybe not even the face. Like maybe they get a shot to the arm, and then rather than blading their face, they blade their fucking shoulder, and they have just blood running down the arm. That'd be a cool visual. Like just going a different way about it. Obviously, got to be a little careful with the arteries and such. But I feel like there's different ways to do it that'd be cool that wouldn't be as detrimental.
And that's the thing. It's got to be used right. You can't just be like, oh, every match, every show is going to be blood, because then people are going to get calloused. They're like, oh, he's bleeding again. All right, moving on. But did you see the Jack Perry unprotected chair shot?
Yeah.
Up there. So,
dude, that was
did you know that's an homage to something?
No. Oh, Dreamer and
back in 1990, I think it was 95.
Yeah.
Raven.
Dreamer and Raven.
Yeah.
So I will say the only reason I know that is because I just watched Bully Ray from Busted Open talk about that match, and that he said that was like literally a la Dreamer Raven 95. So I just watched that probably 10 minutes before we started doing this. So
yeah,
shout out to Busted Open for my knowledge.
Yeah, it was crazy because I mean they're not supposed to hit each other in the head anymore. Back in 95, ECW was nuts, but yeah, it is what it is.
I just, that was wild, man. Like that's not one that they do very often anymore. Obviously, with like the concussion knowledge and everything, that's a pretty wild spot, because I mean that's as unprotected as you get. And clearly, he didn't let up. He full-fledged swung. It looked like he caught him with the lip, like that top part of it, and that can't goddamn, that can't be easy.
No, I'm sure it's not fun.
Those boys are in pain today.
I bet they are. So let's look ahead. Let's see what's coming up in the independent world.
Yeah.
We have August 10th, Signal 10 Wrestling Summer Bash. They just announced the full card. We've got Logan Myers versus Elijah Eros. We have Zay Gates versus Sage Phillips versus Juwan Thomas. Triple threat match for the Diner Podcast #1 contender.
Yeah.
We have Funkin' Fresh taking on Hidari and David.
Oh.
Stella Buho takes on Carter Kaufman. And then we have Sam Knight versus Ashton Adonis for the Diner Podcast Championship, and Jake Oman versus Josh Raymond for the Signal 10 Heavyweight Championship.
And I would just like to remind everyone that during this match, you will get to see the new Diner Podcast champion, Ashton Adonis. By the way, speaking of that, I can't believe we wasted Diner Podcast funds to buy our champion a shirt. That seems like such a waste when he's going to lose it in a couple, he's got, what he's going to get to wear it for? Like a week, 2 weeks?
Got back the brand, baby. That's what, you know what? Sam, I'm rooting for Sam because he's the Diner champion. Ashton wins, I'm going to back him. I'm backing who's ever representing our brand. That's
man, look at you just.
Me, I'm the fanboy.
Just being a people pleaser. You don't really care. You just want to schmooze over whoever has our title, if you will.
Yeah, it's what's best for business. That's how it is. Whatever's best for business.
Okay, fair enough.
But
so we'll call Sam's shirt a parting gift.
No, we'll call it a gift. But August 3rd at Emerge Wrestling, Ashton Adonis and Sam Knight have to team up. They will take on Braden Lee and a mystery opponent.
Oh.
So we will see. We'll see how well they can get along before they have to go to battle.
Ooh, so a week before the show, we'll get to, where is this show at?
Columbus, Indiana.
Interesting. That'd be a fun little trip. See how that plays out.
Well, we'll see. We will see on that one. But I think, me personally, I know they have a match going on the week prior, but you're on a team this week. You better hash out your feelings. I'd rather get the dub than try to screw somebody over.
Or, hear me out, Ashton just hangs out on the outside, and then, when he gets his chance, he just, does a little work before next week, and on the way out, gives Sam a little love shot, and, hits him in the back with a chair or something like, just to, wear that old body out a little bit.
No, I think we need to be class acts. Just get the and move along.
See, no.
I
think that's what we should do. We should just make our title match a no DQ match. Let them just do their thing. There's no reason to worry about rules and such. Let them do their thing.
No, we are a classy organization. We're not doing that. We're not going down that road. But
I want to see some hardcore action.
Well, you can get your hardcore action the next week at West Terre Haute. Hybrid Championship Wrestling Built to Last will be going on.
I'll be honest. I just want to watch Sam get hit in the head with a chair. I think that'd be really fun. But anyway, proceed. Sorry.
Watch it. You're going to get hit in the head with a chair.
Yeah. I just have to run fast and not pull my quad.
So you're still injured, so you won't be able to move so quickly.
I'm healing. It's okay. I seriously think I'm injured when that a-hole threw me out of the ring. Tried to shake his hand like an adult, and then he just grabs me and throws me. Not only did I rack my balls, so I may not be able to have any more children, which might be a blessing, I suppose. But he also, I believe, hurt my quad. Yeah, so I may have been double injured.
He's solid. You don't have to pay for. You don't have to pay for Snippy Snip. You owe him that. But I don't think the quad was not from him. It was the nut injury.
Yeah, but who knows? I could have maybe that started the quad injury, and then I can't even play a leisurely game like softball anymore because of Sam Knight.
Nah, you don't need to play softball. You're old.
Yeah, I know. Asshole.
Yeah, I'm old too. That's why.
Anyway, we've given Sam enough publicity.
Last. Yes, built to last. August 17th, West Terre Haute Community Center. You'll see some guys: Ace Perry, Aaron Atlas, Austin Ryan, Clayton Clark, Dalton Davis, Sage Phillips, and the Hype. We will be there.
And they also put on a hell of a show. I don't know if you saw it or not. We may get to see a new and improved Ace Perry. He put out a pretty solid statement about just being fired up and ready to go. So I'm excited to see what kind of Ace Perry we get on the 17th.
I know. Well, and right now their championship is vacant because Dale Patrick's relinquished the title and he's got to go back on tour to Japan. So there's an open championship.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lots of good.
Well, Justice Shoemaker just commented. He asked if Dalton Davis is healed. I don't know. They announced that he be there, so I hope he's there. He's a fan favorite.
Well, if nothing else, I do not believe he has paid his debt to the Sheriff Clayton Clark. So he is still kind of up in the air there as well. So maybe he is just there for moral support.
He might be.
We will find out.
Very well might be, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be, we got 2 good weeks of hard-hitting action we'll be a part of.
And PSA to all of the dads that are, or even parents, I guess, in general, that are wrestling fans, take your kids to one of these shows or both of these shows if you would like them to be into wrestling. My kids have both been very much so into watching wrestling with me since they've been going to these. They have a blast at these shows. The performers do an incredible job. They interact, and it is a very, very good time. So come out on the 10th and the 17th. The 10th here in Clay County, the fairgrounds, and then the 17th at the West Vigo Community Center. Both shows are a blast. The kids will have a great time. They have merch booths. We're throwing things out, and it is a really, really fun show. So bring your kids out, especially if you want them to get into wrestling and start watching it with you. they will have a great time and they will absolutely want to come back.
Absolutely. Be sure to check out those shows. You can't beat the interaction, Justice says. Yes. I mean,
Yep.
Local shows, the rest, they're right up there. They have merch tables. You can talk to them, get pictures with them, autographs. You can do I think it's better because you're closer to the action. You're closer to the wrestlers. They will interact with you. It's a good time. It's cheaper than going to the WWE. It's $15-20 max probably. You can bring the whole family and spend less than $100. So,
and I want to remind again one more time, if you're coming to these shows, bring signs. If you need information on what to put on said signs, reach out to us. We commentate and ring announce for both of them. So we can give you all sorts of fun things to put on the signs that will just enhance the show and make it even more fun. So bring your signs, bring your energy, and come have some fun with us. These guys put on a hell of a show.
Absolutely. It's a good time and it's close to home. But
absolutely.
That's all I got for this week.
Sounds good. Well, if it's okay, we'll go out one more time on my 4th of July sponsor commercial, and then we will. Oh, actually, do you want to just announce the sponsors, or I can? You're a little choppy currently, but I believe I have our one I made for the youth show the other day. So we will go end off on a little word from our sponsors here, and we'll be back next week with some more wrestling news.
All right.
We'll see you about random wrestling shit. It's still processing, so I'm just awkwardly sitting here staring at the screen until it finishes spinning in circles. There we go. We got it. All right. Well, now we will go to a word from our sponsors as soon as I figure out my life and get this done. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Pappy's Barbecue, Wabash Valley Plumbing, U.S. Lawns of Terre Haute, RJ's Formal Wear, and I cannot spell, ML Productions. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. Stitched Brands, Peak Performance Gym, no peak, no results, and Wabash Valley Adulting Teen Challenge. Thank you to our sponsors. There we go. I have to fix that because not only did I spell it incorrectly, but then I forgot that I was supposed to be voicing it over. So it did not go well, but there we go. So thank you for watching. We will be back next Friday. And yeah, I was waiting for
you. Keep pushing.
There we go. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.